The gears of memory reversed, and that nightmarish Dog Days snowstorm once again hit me like a surging tide. Dad Robert's SUV was parked alone in the snow, and the only empty space in the car became the focus of competition between my sister and me. My sister Lily moved quickly and got on the car first. At that moment, my heart seemed to be hit hard by a hammer. I begged at the top of my lungs, but my family turned a blind eye and even asked me to be magnanimous as if I were being magnanimous. Their cold words pierced my heart like an icicle. "Annie, you are the older sister and you are in better health. You should give way to your younger sister Lily. We believe you can survive on your own." Then, they mercilessly took away all the food and left me, a frail child, in the midst of ice and snow. I was shivering in the snow, and the despair in my heart almost swallowed me up. However, fate always takes unexpected turns. Under the baptism of ice and snow, I miraculously awakened my ice-related abilities. With this superpower, I became a savior hero in the end times, leading people to find hope in desperate situations. However, my family members suffered in the sufferings of the end times and eventually died miserably in the ice and snow. When I woke up again, I found myself back on the day of my escape. I looked at Lily, who was determined to stay and become the savior, and I felt mixed emotions. She would never understand that this power was innate to me, and even if I were to live again, it would still belong to me, Annie. There is only one spot left in Robert's SUV. Jack must go. He is the only boy in the family and he has to carry on the family line. Therefore, only one of you sisters can stay. The familiar words rang in my ears again. Looking at his hypocritical face pretending to be sad, I felt extremely sick. It doesn't matter. I'm the savior in this new life. I don't need these so-called family members at all. Just as I was about to offer to stay, Lily suddenly stood in front of me and said anxiously, "Dad, just let my sister get in the car, I'll stay." I looked at her in surprise, with a resolute look on her face. But not long after, she suddenly revealed a cold smile and said to me in a low voice, "You are just lucky. I will definitely be the one who awakens superpowers in this life, and I will also be the savior." "What did you say?" "Nothing." I was shocked, and Lily instantly turned back into her sad and dying look. Could it be that she was also reborn? In the previous life, although Robert asked for our opinions, their decision had already been made. She and Ryan are twins. They have lived with their parents in the city since they were young. As the eldest daughter, I was thrown into the countryside to be raised by my grandparents and was obviously the most dispensable. But this time, Robert actually patted Lily on the shoulder, with tears in his eyes, and nodded. "Lily, you are really the pride of your parents. Unlike some people, you are only selfish." He gave me a disapproving look, then opened the car door and, together with Linda and Ryan, moved a pile of food to the ground. "Save these foods for yourself and make sure you stay alive. Mom and Dad are waiting for you to lead us to a good life." The words sounded full of tenderness, but I could still hear the excitement in them. How could they accept Lily's proposal so easily? She was their favorite girl. A terrible thought came to my mind. Had all of this family been reborn? "Robert, Linda, Ryan, I will definitely survive. You guys should go to the safe zone quickly," Lily said with tears in her eyes, and finally gave me a smug look. Robert's family cried bitterly and hugged each other, as if they were parting for the last time. It was disgusting. In my previous life, they were unwilling to leave me any food, not even a piece of warm clothing. They just drove away without looking back, leaving me alone to chase after them in the heavy snow. But later, I unexpectedly awakened my special powers and became very successful. They became extremely jealous and tried desperately to find ways to get close to me. Now, they might be planning to change their approach and keep me alive to pave the way for themselves, right? I raised my hand with a sneer, and a snowflake condensed in my palm. This family was ridiculous. They thought that superpowers could be awakened just by freezing in the snow. Little did I know that my supernatural powers were innate, but because I had been living in the warm south, I never had the opportunity to awaken them. At this moment, Ryan suddenly rushed over and slapped me hard. "It's all your fault. You bitch, you made my second sister suffer." The stinging pain on my face made me want to use my supernatural power to freeze this arrogant brother immediately. Unfortunately, I am still in the early stage of awakening, and it is difficult for me to even condense an ice spike, let alone resist his body that is stronger than an ox. Since you care about her so much, let her get in the car and let me stay. After saying that, I turned around and walked away into the distance where the snow was falling. Now, they panicked. Robert rushed over to stop me, and his tone softened. Annie, don't bother with your brother. He's only 18 years old, what does he know? He's just joking, don't take it seriously, get in the car quickly. Linda also hurriedly advised, yes, you are the elder sister, you should be more generous. Ryan just hit you, don't be angry with him. Looking at Ryan, who was so proud of himself, I kept silent and let Robert push me into the car. The car was spacious, but the back seat was filled with various supplies, leaving very little space for people. If Robert would throw away a few bottles of wine, Lily would throw away a few pieces of clothing, and Ryan would part with a few pairs of shoes, I might be able to sit more comfortably. But they won't. In their eyes, I am not even as good as a piece of luggage. The car is as cold as an ice cellar, but in order to save fuel, Robert doesn't want to turn on the air conditioner. Others were shivering in thick cotton clothes, but I was only wearing a thin coat. The reason they had thick clothes was because they bought them when they left me behind and went on a trip to the north. But it doesn't matter. I'm an ice-type mutant, so even if I wear thin clothes, I'll still be warm as spring. Suddenly, hunger struck me, and I reached out for a pack of biscuits and was about to tear open the package. However, the biscuit in his hand was snatched away by Ryan. What are you going to eat, you loser? You eat more than a pig. What are we going to do after you finish eating? I should have known I shouldn't have brought you in the car. At the same time, Linda was sitting in the passenger seat and said to me in a nasty tone, Annie, everyone is hungry, how dare you eat alone? Because they had already left a lot of food for Lily, there was naturally not much food left in the car. If I took a bite, it would be a waste in their eyes. I rolled my eyes and opened the car door, and the cold wind immediately blew into the speeding vehicle. Since you won't let me eat, then let's all just starve to death together. My actions scared everyone in the car into a panic. Robert swerved the steering wheel in panic and the car crashed into a tree trunk on the side of the road. Fortunately, the speed was not fast and no serious accident occurred. Are you crazy? Ryan was so angry that his face turned blue. He grabbed my collar and pretended to hit me. However, at this moment, a group of masked men rushed out from the woods, pointing their guns at us. Don't move. Everyone get down. This scene had never happened in his previous life. Robert and Linda turned pale with fear and quickly squatted down with their heads in their hands. What are you doing? This is illegal. Ryan relied on his tall stature and tried to resist. Bang! A gunshot rang out, and a hole was blown out in the snow. Ryan's face turned pale instantly, his legs softened, and he fell to his knees. He was so frightened that he lost control of his bladder, and the cold liquid quickly froze into ice crystals. Illegal. I am the law. Search the car and take out all the valuables. After hearing what the robber said, Linda panicked. There were her gold and silver jewelry in the car, and if they were robbed, it would be more painful than killing her. She knelt in front of the robber leader and begged, Brother, please don't rob us. How about this? My daughter is only 22 years old this year, and she's not bad looking, I'll give her to you, just let us go. After hearing this, I sneered. No, Linda, why don't you listen to what you are saying? I am your biological daughter. Now is your chance to repay us. We have raised you to this age, so what's wrong with doing a little work for the family? Ryan also echoed, that's right. You eat and live in our house. We have raised you for so many years, isn't it just for you to accompany Big Brother for one night? It's not a big deal. If you follow Big Brother, maybe we can guarantee that you will have food and clothing. After he finished speaking, he looked at the robber leader in a flattering manner. Brother, my sister has been single since birth and is very clean. You can do whatever you want with her. You don't have to give me face. Robert, who had been pretending to be upright, remained silent at this time, which was considered as his consent. I sneered. You support me? I remember when I was a kid, I was thrown into the house of my grandparents, and they only sent me 500 yuan in 3 years, and even had to take money from their retirement fund. I still had to rely on student loans to pay for my college tuition. How dare you say I have done my best? Every word I said hit their sore spot, and Robert and Linda were instantly speechless. Even if we didn't give you any money, you should repay us. After all, we are your family, Linda said stubbornly with a flushed face. I've never seen anyone who would voluntarily send their family away in exchange for a living. I smiled coldly, and Linda's face instantly became uglier. At this time, Robert, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. Annie, it's already this time, so stop making trouble. I'm asking you to stay with them, not to die. Wait until your sister wakes up. Before Robert could finish his words, Linda slapped him in the face and he immediately shut up. I looked at the faces of this family and couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'll go with these big brothers. When the robber leader heard this, he immediately showed a lewd smile and was about to move forward to attack. Robert and Linda were very surprised and quickly turned around to drive away. No, you robbers, can you have a little professional ethics? Although I'm going with you, you can still take the things in the car. Maro tie, gold and silver jewelry, Nike shoes, there are so many. Annie, are you crazy, you bitch? Ryan cursed and was about to rush up to hit me, but was kicked to the ground by a robber. This girl is smart. I'll take good care of you when I get back. The robber leader grinned and waved his hand to signal his men to search for supplies. Robert and Linda were so anxious, but they didn't dare to defy the gun, so they could only turn their anger towards me. Annie, why are you hurting us? What have we done wrong? Robert roared. I was too lazy to pay attention and turned to the robber. That SUV is also good, worth $1 million or so, and the key is in my dad's pocket. Annie. Robert protected his pocket in fear, but the robber shot him directly in the hand. Blood mixed with ice and snow, condensing into frozen red ice crystals, and Robert's screams echoed in the wind and snow. The robbers took the keys, kicked Robert's family into the snow like dead dogs, and took me away. Annie. You will die a miserable death. When Lily awakens her powers, you will be on your knees begging us. Their roars were drowned out by the wind and snow. As for Lily, she must have frozen to death in the snow. Just as I was thinking, I suddenly felt a hand reaching into my clothes. Sister, the weather is so cold, how come you are still so warm? I wonder if other places are so warm too? The robber leader smiled evilly, stopped the car and prepared to attack. I pretended to be submissive and held his fingers tightly. He smiled more and more obscenely, and was about to pounce on her, but suddenly froze. Because his hands were already frozen. You are too angry, let me cool you down. I smiled sweetly, but in his eyes, I was probably scarier than a demon. The next second, his body was completely frozen into an ice sculpture. With the experience of my previous life, I grew up at an astonishing speed this time. In just a few hours, although I couldn't completely control the wind and snow, freezing a person was no problem. Having experienced 5 years of apocalypse in my previous life, I have become decisive and ruthless now. I kicked the man out of the car without hesitation and planned to find a safe area to rest for a while. Unfortunately, I have a poor sense of direction. It should have taken me just over an hour to get there, but I drove until dark before I found a safe area. After stopping the car, I was checked and registered by the staff. When I was about to go in, I saw Robert's family there. When they saw me, they were stunned at first, and then rushed up to me with ferocious faces. How could you be here? Ryan gritted his teeth. I didn't bother to pay attention to them and just took a bag of food from the car. Their eyes immediately turned red and they complained loudly to the staff. We can't let this bitch into the safe zone. She stole our car and kicked us out, leaving us to fend for ourselves outside. She's simply not a human being. Who are you? Don't make random claims. The staff frowned. I rolled my eyes and didn't bother to pay attention to them, but they kept pestering me. In the end times, who has time to deal with these unreasonable people? Seeing this, Robert was so angry that his face turned blue, his tightly wrapped hands were shaking slightly, and his face was no longer calm as before. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something, his eyes flashed with excitement, and he shouted loudly, "My second daughter Lily is a superpower. She is a hero who saves mankind. You better respect me, otherwise I won't let her save you." If ordinary people saw his smug look, they would probably think he was a madman. But the staff member obviously knew something about the inside story. His expression changed and he asked seriously, "Sir, are you telling the truth?" "Of course. My second daughter, Lily, is a superpower. She'll come looking for us soon, and you'd better get this bitch out, or I won't let her help you. Please wait a moment. I will go and ask the leader to come." The staff member left in a hurry. The Robert family looked at me smugly, with a sarcastic smile on their lips. "Annie, if you kneel down and kowtow now and promise to serve us humbly in the future, maybe we can spare your life." I was too lazy to respond and regarded their words as dog barking. They were so angry that their faces turned red, but they could do nothing. At this time, a leader in uniform walked over quickly and looked at me anxiously. "Excuse me, are you a person with superpowers?" Not her. It's my second daughter." Linda immediately stepped forward to stop him. "She hasn't arrived yet. How could this little bitch have superpowers?" The leader frowned and asked in confusion, "When will your second daughter arrive?" I sneered. It was freezing outside, and Lily was just a weak girl. Even if she had food, she might not be able to survive. I was just about to use the ice crystal to prove my ability, when suddenly, a familiar voice came from not far away. "It's me. I'm a superpower." I was stunned for a moment and looked towards the source of the sound. I saw Lily standing not far away, wrapped up like a dumpling, with her face red from the cold. When the Robert family saw her, they were so excited that their eyes filled with tears. They immediately surrounded her and hugged and cried. She was not dead. Of course, she was dressed warmly and brought enough food. It was normal for her to survive until here. "Really? Great." The leader walked up excitedly. "We need help from people with special abilities. Please show us your abilities." Lily's face changed slightly, and she hesitated for a moment, seeming to feel a little guilty. "Ah," she stammered, obviously not knowing how to respond. "Lily, hurry up and show them what you're capable of," Linda urged anxiously and excitedly. Everyone's eyes were on her. She had nowhere to escape, so she could only smile awkwardly, do a clumsy horse stance, sink her chi into her dantian, and gesture randomly in the air with her hands. "Hey, ice is coming." However, after half a day, not only ice cubes but even no drop of water condensed. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. She was acting so mysterious at first, I really thought she had awakened. The leader's face gradually darkened. "Miss, this is a moment of life and death for all mankind. This kind of joke is not funny." Robert and Linda were anxious and urged her. "Lily, hurry up. You can do it." Lily was so anxious that she was about to cry, but she didn't dare to say that she didn't have the ability, so she could only continue to wave her arms and pretend. At this moment, I quietly condensed a small ice crystal and let it fall into Lily's hands. Got it! Got it!" Lily shouted in surprise, and the people around her immediately cheered. Humanity is saved. The savior has come. The leader was overjoyed and immediately respectfully invited her to go to the center of the base. As she passed me, Lily snorted in a high-handed manner and whispered, "Dear sister, it's my turn to be the savior in this life." I sneered and watched her leave. "Let me play with you for a while. I am looking forward to the day when you are exposed and see if you can still be so arrogant." Lily was dragged away to talk for a long time. When she came back, she was feeling very elated, with a look of pride on her face. Although she could no longer display her supernatural powers, with the success just now, everyone just thought that she had just awakened and had not yet mastered the skills. "Dad, Mom, Ryan, the base will arrange for us to stay in the best suite soon. The four of us will soon have no worries about food and clothing." After she finished speaking, she seemed to suddenly remember me and pretended to be surprised and said, "Oh, sister, I'm sorry, I forgot about you. But I only applied for a 3-bedroom apartment, so you may have to sleep in the living room." Before I could say anything, Ryan spat fiercely on the ground. "She is an ungrateful person. You are too soft-hearted, second sister. This bitch deserves to die. Freeze her quickly and put her in the yard to suppress the evil. Yes. You don't know what she did. She colluded with the robbers and stole our car, food, and valuables. She must be taught a lesson. Linda also added fuel to the fire. Lily smiled awkwardly. After all, she had no special powers, so she could only pretend to be tolerant and generous, and said softly, "Hey, we are all family. If my sister is willing to kneel down and kowtow to us to apologize, I will be merciful and forgive her and let her live in the living room. What do you think? Are you tempted?" Her eyes were full of provocation. But I just rolled my eyes and said indifferently, "No, you should just take advantage of the situation and eat more, otherwise you will lose everything after the truth is revealed." "What do you mean?" Lily was furious and rushed towards me. At this moment, a big guy suddenly stood between us. "Are you new here?" he said, and 5 or 6 men followed behind him, holding sticks and looking aggressive. Lily was stunned for a moment, then she remembered that she was a superpower, so she raised her head and said proudly, "So what? Newcomers have to pay protection fees. This land is ours, so you can get food, drinks, or gold jewelry. In the end times, order has collapsed, and people like this can be found everywhere. You're dreaming. I'd rather feed the food you're given than feed it to pigs." Ryan shouted like a bully. As soon as he finished speaking, the big guy slapped him in the face. Ryan screamed and fell to the ground. "How dare you hit me? Do you know who my sister is?" Ryan covered his face and howled. "Oh, who is your sister?" The big guy narrowed his eyes and looked at Lily. Lily's legs were shaking, but she still held on, saying fiercely, "I am a superpower. Do you believe I can freeze you into ice sculptures?" The men looked at each other and burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha. Superpowers? Have you read too many apocalypse novels? Laugh now. I'll make you cry later," Lily said angrily. At this time, Linda felt so distressed when she saw Ryan being beaten. Relying on Lily's superpowers, she rushed up and grabbed the big guy's face. "Bitch! You dare to hit my son? Tian, teach them a lesson." The big guy was completely enraged and kicked Linda 5 or 6 meters away. She fell to the ground wailing. "Damn it, you dare to touch me? Brothers, come on, let's see what kind of person this superpower is." Instantly, several men rushed over and started beating and kicking Robert's family. I had already stepped aside and watched leisurely. Lily was completely panicked. She waved her hands and shouted, "I am a superpower. How dare you touch me?" But after waving her hands for a long time, not even a piece of ice or water mist appeared. "Ha ha ha. You're really a fool. This girl is quite pretty. Guys, how about having some fun with her?" The big guy showed a lewd smile, and Lily was so scared that she almost cried. Tian, hurry. Daddy is almost beaten to death." Linda and Ryan howled in pain, and Ryan was kicked several times in the crotch and passed out from the pain. Seeing the situation getting worse, at the moment when Lily reached out her hand in despair, I quietly gathered the cold air and instantly froze the big guy into an ice sculpture. The air suddenly fell into a dead silence. Oh my god, there really is a superpower. I don't know who spoke first, and the next second, the crowd was in an uproar. We are saved. A person with superpowers has appeared. No. God has come to save us. Savior, please save us. The crowd knelt down and shouted, as if Lily had really become a god. She stared blankly at her hands, then at the lifelike ice sculpture, and then at the excited crowd. An arrogant smile gradually appeared on her face. "Ha ha ha. I am the savior. Weren't you very arrogant just now? You dared to hit people." After saying that, she walked towards the men who were not frozen. After witnessing her magic power, the men knelt down and kowtowed repeatedly. "Savior, we are blind and do not recognize you. Please spare our lives." Lily kicked them hard a few times, enjoying the absolute power. Robert rolled his eyes, suddenly cleared his throat, and said to the crowd, "Ahem, my daughter saved you. But her ability is not in vain. You must show your sincerity and prove that you are worthy of being saved." The crowd looked at each other. Soon, someone took out a few pieces of gold and offered them with both hands. This is all I have. Please save us. With someone taking the lead, others followed suit, and money and food were piled at Lily's feet. She and Robert's family had greedy smiles on their faces. And I am still standing far away, watching coldly. Keep feeling proud, and soon you won't be able to laugh anymore. The news of Lily's superpower status spread quickly throughout the base, and many people came with all their belongings to seek her protection. Although the person in charge of the base knew about it, he could only turn a blind eye to it in order to appease the people. As for me, I tried to stay away from them as much as possible to avoid unnecessary disputes. But after Lily proclaimed herself the savior, she became more arrogant and domineering, bullying men and women in the safe zone. Anyone who did not do what she wanted would be beaten by Ryan. This place is not big, and you can see them everywhere. Although I tried my best to avoid them, I finally met them. That day, I saw Lily standing aside ostentatiously, while Ryan was beating a boy of 13 or 14. You little bastard, you don't even bow to the savior. Are you tired of living? Beat me up. Lily said as she spat at the boy. The onlookers were filled with anger, but no one dared to help. I frowned, stepped forward and kicked Ryan away. The more complete my ability awakened, the stronger my physical fitness became. This kick actually knocked Ryan, who weighed more than 180 kilograms, to the ground. Fuck. Who dares to kick me? Ryan got up in a mess, furious. But when he saw it was me, the fierceness on his face immediately turned into sarcasm. Hey, isn't this my sister? Haven't seen you for a week. What's wrong? Are you jealous of us because we are doing well? So it's you, bitch. Ryan sneered. Want to come back? It's too late. Even if you kowtow to us, it's useless. I ignored them, but glanced at them with contempt, sneering, you clowns. You're looking for death. Ryan roared and rushed over. But after being enhanced by my superpowers, I saw him punching in slow motion. I dodged easily and kicked him, sending him rolling on the ground. Lily was so angry that her face turned blue, and she stretched out her hand and shouted, "Aren't you afraid that I will freeze you?" I'd love to. I stood there, not afraid. Lily had a flash of hesitation in her eyes. You forced me to do it. Ice. She waved her hands wildly. In the end, nothing happened. What's the matter? You seem to be a dud. I said with a smile. Bitch. I didn't perform well just now. Try again. But no matter how hard she tried, no supernatural power appeared. The crowd began to whisper. Why can't the savior use her supernatural powers? Is she lying to us? Has she ever really used them? I think she is a liar. Shut up. She froze people alive into ice sculptures. Listening to the discussions around her, Lily's face turned red and she roared in frustration. Shut up. Do you believe I will freeze you all to death? Although her prestige had collapsed, people still did not dare to disobey and kept silent. At this time, the head of the base, Michael, rushed over in a hurry. What's going on here? What's the noise? Lily immediately grabbed a life-saving straw and screamed, Michael, I order you to kick this bitch out of the safe zone immediately. Not only did she abandon my parents and brother, she also injured Ryan. Michael frowned, his tone helpless. Maybe there is some misunderstanding. Why don't you just let Annie apologize and let it go? Apologize? It's useless. Lily interrupted arrogantly. It's either her or me. It's either me or her. If you don't drive her away, I won't save this safe zone, and we'll all die together. Lily, don't you feel ashamed? I finally couldn't help it and was ready to expose her. However, suddenly a breeze blew by. The next second, a strong wind blew, and the wind and snow were mixed. Amid the roar, the houses in the base were overturned by the strong wind, and people fled in panic, wailing everywhere. In the distance, a huge tornado was sweeping in. Oh no. How come the storm came early? In my previous life, I encountered my first storm 3 months after my superpowers awakened. At that time, all the buildings and trees on the ground were uprooted, and countless lives were buried in the storm. But now, the end of the world has just begun. Only a week has passed, and this catastrophe has arrived ahead of schedule. Oh my God. Savior, please save us. The head of the base, Michael, collapsed to the ground in fear. He looked at Lily and found that she was also shaking. What is this? Run! She screamed and tried to escape, but was grabbed by Michael. You can't leave. You are the savior, save us. The lives of 50,000 people are in your hand. Yes. I am the savior, I can do it. Lily trembled all over and barely walked to the gate of the base. The strong wind swept in, and it was about to swallow everything in one step. Ice is coming. Ice is coming. She waved her arms hysterically. To no avail. Show up. I am the savior. I command you to show up. No matter how she screamed, the storm was still approaching. How could this happen? She fell to her knees helplessly, her face ashen. Michael knelt down and cried desperately. Savior, please save us. Is there anyone who can save us? At this time, I stepped forward. Annie, come back quickly. Danger. Bitch. Are you crazy? You can't have superpowers. Lily screamed hysterically. But I turned a deaf ear to it. The storm roared closer, and I closed my eyes, gathering all the cold air. The next second, I suddenly opened my arms, and the majestic cold air swept out. A thick wall of ice rose from the ground, freezing the entire tornado in an instant. Then, the tornado shattered, turned into ice crystals, and dissipated between heaven and earth. When I turned around, everyone was dumbfounded, their mouths hanging open. In their shock, the faces of Robert family were pale, as if they had lost their vitality. Finally, someone in the crowd stammered, She is the real savior. Instantly, everyone cheered. But I shook my head slowly. I'm not a savior, I'm just an ordinary person. In this apocalypse, only if we work together can we survive. After hearing what I said, the crowd cheered even louder. Lily on the side, shook her head in pain, and covered her ears with both hands. No. Impossible. I have suffered so much in this life, why do you still have the superpowers? She suddenly seemed to have thought of something, and raised her head with a vicious look. It must be you. You must have stolen my superpower, you thief. I'm going to kill you. She rushed over like crazy, trying to knock me down, but how could she be my opponent? I just kicked her lightly, and she flew out like a kite with a broken string, and fell heavily to the ground. Do you think that you can awaken your superpowers just by starving and freezing? I walked up slowly and looked down at her. Let me tell you, the supernatural powers you used were all controlled by me in secret. This supernatural power was destined to belong to me since I was born. No matter how many times you are reborn, you will never have it. As soon as she finished speaking, Lily collapsed to the ground, in despair. At this moment, an angry roar suddenly came from the crowd. This family is a bunch of liars. They used the name of Savior to deceive us, swindled all our belongings, and bullied the weak. We can't let them go. Anger spread among the crowd instantly. In the past week, Robert's family had taken advantage of Lily's reputation to do all kinds of bad things, and now the truth was revealed, people were furious. They swarmed over, pinned Robert, Linda, and Ryan to the ground, and beat and kicked them. Ah! Stop it! Please stop it! We will return the money to you. Annie, save us. I'm your mother, you can't just stand by and watch us die. Sister, I was wrong. Please save me. I will never dare to do it again. Daughter, Daddy knows he was wrong. Please stop hitting me. They cried and begged, trying to reach out to me for help. But isn't this miserable state exactly the same as when they abandoned me in my previous life? All this is just the retribution they deserve. Gradually, when they saw that I remained calm, they began to curse me crazily. You bitch. You will die a horrible death. How dare you watch someone die without helping? You cold-blooded, heartless thing. You will go to hell. Their shouts seemed so weak. Soon, their voices disappeared completely. The head of the base, Michael, rushed over and grabbed my arm. Annie, that's enough. You can't really kill people. I shrugged, raised my hand and formed an ice wall to separate the angry people. Unfortunately, it was too late. The Robert family was already dead. Just like in my previous life, I began to use my supernatural powers to lead mankind to work together to fight against the end of the world. Thanks to everyone's efforts, the storm was resisted and the snow gradually melted. But to prevent the melting snow from causing global sea levels to rise and triggering a greater disaster, I work day and night to transport this ice and snow to the Arctic and Antarctic. This move not only avoided floods, but also solved the problem of melting polar glacier. Eventually, human civilization prospered again, and I was worshipped as the true savior. Statues of me were erected all over the world. 10 years later, one day in the spring when the sun was shining brightly, I came to the top floor of the mental hospital and looked through the glass window at the figure in the ward. Lily paced back and forth in the room with disheveled hair, a haggard face, and lifeless eyes, muttering to herself, "I am the savior. I am the God who saves you. I am the savior." I asked the doctor about her condition. Her condition has worsened and there is no chance of improvement. I shrugged and turned to leave. But just as I took a step forward, there was a loud crash in the ward. The doctor rushed in panic and found that Lily had fallen to the ground. She had just hit the wall hard, blood gushing out, and she was already dead. Her eyes, still open, stared at me outside the window, filled with resentment and hatred. I walked forward, gently stretched out my hand, and closed her eyes for her. Then, the cold air gathered and completely froze her body. Perhaps I could find a place to place her to suppress the evil.